Ahoy, crew members, welcome aboard. Good to see you. Well, we're convinced that the Chesapeake Bay is going to thaw out, so we're going to head back up into the northern part of the bay before long, and well, come back home to up near the Baltimore area. We're way down near the mouth of the Chesapeake right now, kind of waiting out the bad weather and all, but I guess it's late enough in the winter that it's certainly not going to freeze solid from now on, is it?
Baltimore, Maryland, one of the most recognized cities in America. With the population of the Baltimore metropolitan area close to 3 million, it is the 20th largest metropolitan area in the United States. It is the birthplace of the U.S. national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. While Baltimore is celebrated for Edgar Allan Poe, steamed crabs, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Baltimore Orioles, it is also known for its high crime and homicide rates. Television shows like Homicide: Life on the Street and The Wire have highlighted these dangers. Baltimore is a city of darkness, and also a city of light. The shining light of Baltimore are the hard workers, the longshoremen, the first responders, and the average Joe that works 50-plus hours a week in the factories to put food on the table. There are communities that still believe in their city, those who still see the good of Baltimore and its surrounding counties. When tragedy strikes, the true natives of Baltimore always rise up. They have their neighbors' backs. They still believe that things will get better. But the darkness often overshadows the hidden light of good. In the city of Baltimore, drug addiction has touched every family, every workplace, and surrounding neighborhoods in the community. Year after year, homicides within the city are on the rise. The city is often referred to as Baltimore, Murderland. It is easy for me to talk about the city of Baltimore, the outskirts of Baltimore County, and the state of Maryland as a whole, because I was born in Baltimore. I spent well over 30 years of my young life raised in Baltimore County. I can honestly say that I have a love-hate relationship with the city that I was born in. And it took me a long time to come to terms with whether to complete this project that you are now watching. For myself, watching Baltimore from afar, it is like watching an old friend slowly dying from an incurable disease. This is my love letter to the city of Baltimore. While the city of Baltimore is known for its inner-city violence, extremely high crime rate, and high murder rate per capita, it has never really been known for breeding serial killers. It could be due to the fact that other high-profile serial killers, such as Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, or John Wayne Gacy, have always stolen the spotlight from lesser-known Baltimore-born serial killers. On February 21, 1999, Raymond Hopewell killed 60-year-old Constance Wills. A friend of Wills' family, Hopewell broke into the home and attacked Wills in the bedroom. He tied her wrists together, sexually assaulted her, beat her, then strangled her to death. He then took valuables from the home. Her body was later discovered by her daughter and her neighbor. Baltimore City Police ruled her death a homicide. Hopewell was eventually arrested in 2001 after attempting to sell cocaine to an undercover police officer. He was never connected to the murder of Constance Wills and was released back into society on $5,000 bail. In September of 2002, Hopewell was convicted of the drug charge and given 2 years of probation. On November 30th, 2005, only 2 months after being convicted of drug charges, Raymond Hopewell entered the Green Hill Apartments near Druid Hill Park, an assisted livings apartment complex for the elderly and disabled. At the time, Hopewell's mother was living in the area. Across from his mother's apartment was the apartment of 88-year-old Sarah Shannon. He sexually assaulted and strangled the elderly woman to death, then looted her apartment and took her valuables. Sarah Shannon's body was found by a relative after she had not answered any of her phone calls. On May 31st, 2005, Hopewell broke into the apartment of 78-year-old Sadie Mack in the Sandtown neighborhood. Using a shoestring, he tied Mack's hands together, took off her pants, and sexually assaulted her. He then strangled her to death. Sadie Mack's body was found later that day by her son, Ernest. On August 21st, 2005, Hopewell entered 82-year-old Carlton Crawford's apartment. Crawford was a deaf man living alone. Hopewell tied Crawford by the ankles and then beat him relentlessly. It was so loud that 2 downstairs neighbors, Bruce Boulware and DeTwain Holmes Boulware, heard loud noises coming from the Crawfords' apartment. The couple notified security of the odd noises. When a female security guard knocked on Crawford's door, Hopewell answered and told the officer that Crawford had simply fallen, but when the officer asked to come in, Hopewell refused. She threatened to call police, to which Hopewell dared her to. She then walked away. After the female security guard left, Hopewell beat Carlton Crawford to death. Hopewell then ran out of the building. The responding officers found Crawford's body on the floor. On August 31st, 2005, Hopewell knocked on the door of 78-year-old Lydia R. Wingfield, who was the mother of his childhood friend Gerald. Hopewell introduced himself as Money and claimed to have known Gerald as a child, but refused to reveal his real identity. He later left the premises, and Lydia called her son to ask about the strange encounter. Hopewell returned later that afternoon, broke into the home, tied Lydia up, and sexually assaulted her. He then strangled her to death. On September 2nd, 2005, Hopewell continued his rampage of murder as he broke into a home in West Baltimore. The home belonged to a 63-year-old woman. Finding she was not upstairs, Hopewell ransacked the kitchen. He eventually found a woman hiding in the basement. At knife point, he sexually assaulted her, but left the home without killing her. 7 days later, on September 9th, 2005, Hopewell attacked an elderly couple in their Spalding Avenue home. Using a knife, Hopewell cut a hole in the kitchen screen door and attacked the 55-year-old woman and a 61-year-old man, demanding $150. The woman told Hopewell that she had already called the police, and he fled from the home. The following day, he broke into the home of 80-year-old Thomas Tabron and 76-year-old Amelia Gertrude Tabron. He confronted Amelia in the living room and told her, "I am here to kill you and your husband." Amelia pleaded for him not to. Amelia was able to grab his knife, only for Hopewell to forcibly pull it back, slicing her hand in the process. He then pushed her to the floor and attacked Thomas, who fought with Hopewell and ended up sustaining minor injuries himself. Hopewell then took some money and left the house. Raymond Hopewell was finally arrested on September 20th, 2005, after a thorough investigation by the Baltimore Police Department. The evidence against him included DNA found at the crime scene, witness testimonies, and his own admissions. The DNA that detectives found on the Crawford crime scene matched the rest of the murders. During the trial, Raymond Hopewell would apologize for his crimes, saying, "I just want to tell everybody that I'm sorry for their losses." But the victims' families said that the apology didn't feel sincere. Constance Willis's daughter, Cecilia Smile, said, "I don't think that it meant anything." Ivan Wingfield, son of Lydia Wingfield, wanted the death penalty. He would say, "Because of what this person has done to my mother, he has torn this family apart. For him to live the rest of his life, I'm not happy at all. I have my Christian beliefs as well, but the death penalty is warranted." On September 15, 2006, Raymond Hopewell was found guilty of the murders of Constance Wills, Sarah Shannon, Sadie Mack, Carlton Crawford, and Lydia Wingfield. Raymond Hopewell was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Joseph Metheny, also known as The Cannibal and a nickname of Tiny, was an American serial killer from Baltimore who committed his crimes in the 1990s. He gained infamy not only for his brutal murders, but also for his shocking claims about cannibalism. Metheny's crimes involved luring his young female victims to secluded areas where he would kill them. Joseph Metheny would dismember their bodies and partially ate them prior to preparing their remains as burger meat. Metheny gained notoriety for his macabre claim that he mixed the flesh of his victims with animal meat and sold it as hamburgers at a roadside stand. In 1994, Metheny murdered 39-year-old Kathy Ann Magaziner and buried her body in a shallow grave on the site of the factory where he worked. He dug up her remains 6 months later, had sex with the body, and put her head in a box, throwing it in the trash. In 1995, Metheny was tried for murdering Randall Brewer and Randy Piker with an axe at a homeless tent city campsite under Baltimore's Hanover Street Bridge. A jury concluded in July of 1996 that there was insufficient evidence to convict Metheny to the murders of Brewer and Piker, but he later said that he was guilty of those murders. In November of 1996, Joe Metheny killed single mother Kimberly Lynn Spicer by stabbing her with a knife. Spicer had fallen on hard times and taken up drug use, and Metheny lured her to a trailer he had recently acquired. Joseph Metheny's sickening run came to an end in 1996 after he kidnapped Rita Kemper, another prostitute from Baltimore. When she refused to have sex with Metheny, he chased her down, beat her, dragged her back into the trailer, and attempted to sexually assault her. Metheny told her, "I'm going to kill you and bury you in the woods with the other girls." Rita Kemper managed to escape and notified police. But it wasn't until December of 1996 that Metheny's sickening run came to an end after he asked a friend to help him bury the body of Spicer, which he had been hiding at the factory since her killing a month earlier. The friend reported it to the police on December 15, 1996, and Joseph Metheny was arrested and charged with her murder that same day. During his interrogation, Metheny confessed to several murders, providing detailed accounts of his crimes. He was charged with multiple counts of murder, kidnapping, and sexual assault. Police said that Metheny had chosen young sex workers who were addicted to heroin and cocaine and had fallen on hard times. While on trial, Joseph Metheny said, "I cut the meat up and put it in some Tupperware bowls, then put it in the freezer. I opened up a little open pit beef stand. I had real roast beef and pork sandwiches. They were very good. The human body tastes very similar to pork. If you mix it together, no one can tell the difference." At his trial, Joseph Metheny said, "The words 'I'm sorry' will never come out of my mouth, for they would be a lie. I am more than willing to give up my life for what I have done, to have God judge me and send me to hell for eternity. I just enjoyed it." In 1997, Metheny was convicted of the murders of Kathy Ann Magaziner and Kimberly Spicer. He was sentenced to death for Magaziner's murder and to life imprisonment without parole for Spicer's murder. However, his death sentence was later overturned, and Metheny was given a life sentence instead. Joseph Metheny died August 5, 2017 in Western Correctional Institution in Creepustown, Maryland, at the age of 62. His death brought an end to the life of a man whose crimes shocked and horrified the city of Baltimore. Metheny's case remains one of the most gruesome in American criminal history, largely due to his chilling confessions and the alleged cannibalistic aspects of his crimes. On May 16, 2006, 32-year-old Rey Rivera went missing from his home shortly after receiving a phone call from the Agora Publishing, according to a house guest staying at the Rivera residence at the time. Rivera rushed out of the house, never to be seen alive again. After several days of searching for clues on his whereabouts, Rivera's in-laws found his car located in a parking lot off of St. Paul Street in Baltimore's Mount Vernon neighborhood near his workplace. On May 24, 2006, nearly a month after Rivera's disappearance, Rey Rivera's co-workers went to the top of a parking garage near where the car was discovered, noticed a hole in the roof of the south wing of the historical 14-story building called the Belvedere Hotel. The badly decomposed body of Rey Rivera was found in a conference room on the second floor of the hotel's Galleria Annex. It appeared that Rivera had managed to access the hotel's roof, and he had fallen 177 feet to his death. The entry hole in the roof was so small that nobody ever noticed. Rivera's glasses and cell phone were found intact on the lower roof near the hole. The Baltimore City Medical Examiner marked Rivera's manner of death as undetermined. As an odd coincidence, the Belvedere video roof cameras were disconnected or not working on May 16th, but had been working the day before on May 15th, and they were working the day after on May 17th. So there was no video evidence ever recovered of Rey Rivera inside the hotel. His wife and family said that Rey was extremely afraid of heights, so why would he jump 177 feet to his death? He had also shown no history of mental illness. There was no blood or flesh on the hole on the second floor roof. One of Rey's flip-flops also had a broken band and fresh drag marks. Rivera's keepsake money clip wallet was also missing and never found. One detective felt that someone had possibly staged the scene of the roof with the hole, as well as the placement of the recovered cell phone, glasses, and flip-flops. It is also believed that the hole was too small for Rivera's body to fall through from the height that he fell. Many in the Rivera family believed that Rey Rivera's death was homicide. Rivera had worked for his high school friend Porter Stansberry, writing a financial newsletter called The Rebound Report. Porter Stansberry refused to give any interviews about Rey's disappearance, and after Rivera's body was discovered, Agora Publishing put a gag order on its employees. Many to this day believe that Porter Stansberry had a hand in Rey Rivera's death. After searching the house for evidence, Rey's wife found a note behind his computer. The note included the names of prominent figures in Hollywood, movie titles, as well as Freemason quotations. The first half of the note read, "Brothers and sisters, right now, around the world volcanoes are erupting. What an awesome sight. That was a well-played game. Congratulations to all who participated. I hope you enjoyed it. But it is time to wake up, so here I am." The note left behind further added to the mystery surrounding Rey Rivera's death. It was also featured on the first season of Netflix reboot Unsolved Mysteries. The circumstances of Rey Rivera's death still remain a mystery to this very day. Leakin Park, located in Baltimore, Maryland, has unfortunately become notorious for being a dumping ground for murder victims. Over the years, many bodies have been discovered in the park, leading to its grim reputation. Leakin Park, which includes Gwynn Falls Park, is one of the largest urban wildlife parks in the United States. Despite its natural beauty, the park has gained infamy due to the high number of bodies found there, with estimates of more than 75 bodies discovered since the 1940s. One of the most well-known cases associated to Leakin Park is the murder of Hae-Min Lee, a high school student whose body was found in a shallow grave in the park in 1999. Her ex-boyfriend, Adnan Syed, was convicted of her murder. The case gained international attention through the 2014 podcast Serial, which raised questions about Syed's guilt and the evidence used to convict him. But sadly, the true victim, Hae-Min Lee, has been somehow lost in the shadows of the mainstream media's continued effort to prove a killer's innocence. In 2022, Syed was released when a Baltimore judge overturned his conviction in response to a request from prosecutors who said they found flaws in the evidence. Maryland's Supreme Court upheld a lower court decision to reinstate Syed's conviction while allowing him to remain free pending a new hearing about whether he should have been released. Over the decades, numerous other bodies have been found in Leakin Park. Many of these cases involve victims of violent crimes, including homicides related to drug activities, gang violence, and domestic dispute. The park's dense vegetation and secluded areas makes it a place where perpetrators believe they can dispose of a body without being discovered. The frequent discoveries of bodies in Leakin Park have had a significant impact on the public perception of the area. While it remains a place for recreation and natural beauty, its association with violent crime and death overshadows these aspects. The park's notoriety has been reflected in popular culture, including references in TV shows, movies, and podcasts. Baltimore law enforcement agencies have increased patrols and surveillance in and around Leakin Park to deter criminal activities and ensure the safety of visitors. Despite those efforts, the park's reputation remains a challenge for the community and law enforcement alike. Baltimore filmmaker and YouTuber Dan Bell has created various amazing documentaries on the subject of Leakin Park. I highly suggest his YouTube videos, Baltimore's Leakin Park, the scariest place in America, as well as the follow-up, Leakin Park, Down in the Devil's Well, which I will link both in the description of this video. I also suggest highly following Dan Bell as well, as he is, like myself, a Maryland native who grew up in Baltimore. He follows the subject frequently on his channel, and his videos are both riveting and masterful. On April 17, 1968, 18-year-old Reginald Vernon Oates lured 10-year-old Lewis Hill into Gwynn Falls, Leakin Park, where he beat and sexually assaulted him. Afterwards, he slit the 10-year-old's throat and violated the corpse before slicing off his head and hands. The next day, on April 18th, Oates lured 3 boys into the park: 8-year-old Larry Jefferson, his 5-year-old brother Mac, and 10-year-old Lester Watson. Oates beat and stabbed all three kids numerous times. Like with Hill the day before, Oates sexually assaulted the children's bodies, gutted their internal organs, and cut off their genitals, which he took with him as a trophy. The next day, on April 19th, the boys' bodies were found by the authorities. On that same day, Oates managed to lure two underage girls into the park, where he unsuccessfully attempted to attack them. Oates was quickly detained by law enforcement officers who, during his arrest, confiscated 2 bags and lunch boxes containing the murder weapons and parts from the bodies of the murdered children. Oates was charged with 4 murders. He pled not guilty, declaring that he was insane, and was examined by psychiatrists who verified that Oates could not stand trial due to his mental condition. As a result, he was sent for compulsory treatment at the Clinton T. Perkins State Hospital in Jessup, Maryland. On October 24, 2021, an off-duty firefighter was passing by Leakin Park around 7 that Sunday morning when he noticed a parked car that was on fire. Inside, the off-duty firefighter found 39-year-old Leandra Sampson's lifeless body. She had been fatally shot once in the head and once in the arm. On February 2024, a man called police after he found what appeared to be a skull near the 1300 block of Woodington Road in Leakin Park. When officers arrived, they confirmed the skull was human. As of 2025, over 75 bodies have been found in Leakin Park. Leakin Park stands as a symbol of the darker side of urban life, where beauty and nature coexist with crime and violence. In 2024, there was a total of 201 homicides in Baltimore City alone, and the city ranked number 2 in cities with the highest murder rates, with St. Louis, Missouri being number 1. Baltimore, Maryland has a murder rate of 57 murders per 100,000 people, the second highest in the United States. For the people of Baltimore, you have to wonder, will the violence ever end?